All About Writing with Ben and Sara.
Welcome to All About Writing, the podcast that covers everything about the world of writing from the inside out. This is episode 76, part 5, on our series on Life Top 5. I'm Ben, here with my co-host Sara, who is an award-winning best-selling author, screenwriter, editor, and TED Talk presenter.
And I'm Sara, here with my co-host Ben, who is an award-winning best-selling author and ghostwriter, editor, and publisher. And on our Life Top 5, we have decided, it was very hard, to do favorite movies, our top 5 favorite movies, which I did want to say, as we dove into this, we didn't actually give rules. Are we giving people like spoilers? Like this is what happens at the end? Or are we just talking about our top 5? I mean, we might have spoiler alerts if we're gonna talk about them.
Let's just say spoiler alerts
Spoiler
right now.
alerts.
Yep, no guarantees, but maybe
Yes.
so.
There's a good chance there will be spoiler alerts, so be aware. You may hear about a movie you wanted to see. And I don't think I know none of mine are like particularly new. So I feel like it's like, if you haven't seen it, shame on you, because they've been out for decades.
Yeah, in some cases, yes. Years at least. Yeah.
Yes.
And something else we want to say is that, since we're both like artistes, that maybe you would expect us to come up with really like, what are the best movies, the most powerful movies that we've ever seen. And honestly, no. We're going to talk about our favorite movies, the ones that we can go back to and watch again, and that we just love and just hit us right here. And I'm just going to throw out an example right now. I hope this isn't on your top 5, Sara, but a movie like Schindler's List, right? One of the most powerful movies I've ever seen, a magnificent movie. But is it one of my favorite movies? No. Do I ever want to watch it again? Probably not. I don't need to, because it's still in here and it's amazing. But a movie like that, which is a phenomenal movie, it might be perhaps one of the best movies, is not one of my favorite movies. And that's the difference that I want to put out there.
That's a good disclaimer, Ben. Good job.
All right, good. Okay. So who wants to start? Do you want to go first?
Wait. One more thing. Are we doing our least to most favorite?
Yeah, we'll start with number 5 and we'll work up to number 1.
Okay. My number 5 is a Flower Drum Song.
Yes. One of my favorites too. Didn't quite make the list.
It is I believe it came out in the 50s or 60s.
Oh. For any of our listeners who don't know it, tell us a bit about this movie, Sara.
It is a musical. And it is what I love about it is a couple of reasons. One, I think it was one of the first times that they in Hollywood that the entire cast was Asian.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think I don't even know if there might be one white person. It is all Chinese actors, and there's some really fun songs. It's but it's about a father and his daughter who come from China because she's being I don't want to say sold as a bride to the oldest son of a Chinese American. They're very settled, but the dad is from China, so he wants his sons to have these very traditional marriages. So it's an arranged marriage. I should have said that. It's an arranged marriage. And of course there's so many comedic cultural clashes that happen. And actually I'm trying to remember which son is supposed to marry this. But anyway, some of them have become, there's a lot of cross, like this boy likes this girl, but they're engaged. There's a lot of like star-crossed situations going on, um uh and the costumes are just so good and the songs are just so fun. Like one of the songs is called like I think it's like I adore being a girl. And like she's this showgirl, but she just loves being a girl. And then there's another song where, the guy that our heroine's supposed to marry is very Americanized, and he sings a whole song. I think it's just called Baby Don't Marry Me. Because he doesn't, he's like trying to put her off of wanting to marry him, and she's like, but I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to. So it's just it's very cute. And it just culturally really interesting. There's a lot of comedy. There's a part where the old Chinese guy, he keeps all his money under his mattress. It's in San Francisco. The whole thing takes place in San Francisco, and he keeps it under his mattress, and they finally convince him that that's bad. Like, you should put the money in a bank. And he doesn't trust banks, and it's very Chinese. And he comes in with like his gold box of money to the bank, and the bank people are just like, no, 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 it's very secure. It's very secure. We have state of the art everything. And they explain to him that if anybody tries to rob the bank, that they have alarm systems and everything like that. And so he just reaches and hits the button to sets off the whole alarm. The whole place is bedlam and everything, everything. And he's standing there like, this is good. This is very good, impressive. And so it's just sweet and fun and light. And it's one of those obscure musicals that not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
But it used to be a thing. But I think so anyway, that's my 5.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. I think we're going to have different lists, but this is going to be good.
Okay. Your bottom 5.
My number 5
Yes.
is 2009's Inglourious Bastards by Quentin Tarantino.
Great movie.
Yeah. And Tarantino is a great filmmaker. And quick shout out to Pulp Fiction, which was revolutionary and groundbreaking, was amazing. Pulp Fiction did not make this list though, because Pulp Fiction is brutal and is, there's a lot of things going on with that movie. Inglourious Bastards is another brilliant Tarantino movie, which I think I don't know, it just hit all the right marks so well. And Brad Pitt is, ostensibly the lead actor, and he is a great actor, but he is probably the least interesting person in this movie. Because the Nazi Jew hunter and Shoshana who escapes, and the young German who's the hero, and even the French farmer, the German movie star, like all of them, the British intelligence agent, they're fascinating. The movie is so well written. It is so well acted. It is so well edited. It is just breathtaking from a storytelling point of view, from a drama point of view. It's just like 10 out of 10. Inglourious Bastards. I remember the first time I watched it, I was just blown away. And then a little later, I was watching it again, and with me was my friend Judith, who is fluent in English, French, German, and Spanish. And she's lived in Germany for a long time, so she even knows the different regional dialects in Germany. So she is the perfect person to watch this movie with, because she actually knows all the languages that are being used. Because if you've seen the movie, you know that language and which language are you speaking is really important sometimes. And the moment where the British spy puts up the wrong symbol for 3. He does that instead of that. He did that, and next to me, Judy went, oh no. She immediately knew that was wrong. Like, man, you were awesome. And I could not have watched the movie with someone who could appreciate it more. And so that was actually what made it great too. Not just the movie, but the reaction of the person next to me who knew everything. So it definitely made some careers. Herman Valsey, it was unknown before then, and now he's like one of the top actors because he was so good as this evil character who did not believe he was evil, and that's what made him so good. so awful, so bad, but at the same time, such a good performance. So, Inglorious Bastards was my number 5.
That is a good one. I now I want to rewatch it. It's been a hot minute. All right. The next one on my list is The Illusionist.
Okay.
Have you seen that one? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I actually juggled. Should I do The Illusionist or The Prestige? They both
Mm-hmm.
are about magic that came out relatively at the same time and almost overshadowed each other because of it. They're both
Mm-hmm.
very different movies, both stellar cast. But I chose The Illusionist for a couple of reasons. One, because the cinematography in that movie is maybe one of my favorite things. I could just watch the way they this is where I do get more like artsy and technical. Like they ramp up the chroma and the use of shadow and the use of make it feel like an old film at times. Um the so certain things like that. But what I really like, why I like The Illusionist better, is the story underneath the inspiration for that film, which was based on the true story of the um uh, uh death and suicide of the Kaiser's son, an heir to the Prussian throne, because of it was a switched thing where it was like it was the grand prince who was in love with a commoner woman, and she died, they think, from a botched miscarriage or abortion, and she died in a hunting cabin, which they show the hunting cabin in the movie a lot, and then he died of suicide, also shown in the film, uh and and so the Kaiser was left with no heir, and so it passed to his cousin, and his cousin had a son who was a very divisive figure, and that was Franz Ferdinand, who was the shot that started World War I. And it all comes down to truly this forbidden love and tragic death of these two people who, had they not died, we may never have had a World War I or World War II. And so it's
Right.
this idea of how one person can
Mm. Oh,
change.
it's fascinating. I love it when movies can speak to us on different levels like that. Like to appreciate the technical side of it. It's just, oh, that is just beautiful. But
Yeah,
then the story behind it and the meaning behind it. Oh yeah, no, great
yeah,
pick.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, The Illusionist. Love it. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right.
Man, I almost feel I feel kind of cheap with my next movie after
Oh
something
no.
as beautiful as that. So my number 4, 1993's Jurassic Park.
Oh, I mean, the score alone, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, John Williams outdoes himself as always, but Jurassic Park. A couple of reasons why I love this movie, why it's my on my top 5. One, I've loved dinosaurs since like forever, and Jurassic Park was the first movie that really presented dinosaurs on the big screen in a realistic way, right?
Yes.
It was just so good. Just recently, I was watching actually a documentary on the making of the T-Rex scene and how it was framed and how it was set up and everything, and it was really neat just to see from a writing and directing perspective the genius of how they built that scene. Of course, when you're watching it, you're not aware of any of that genius. You just take in the scene and are blown away by it. But to actually see this is what they did to make that scene with the 3 acts in the scene and the way they framed things and but I mean, not only was it technically spectacular, there's no question it was. But again, the story, the suspense, like it's Spielberg at his best, just building these scenes and the water jiggling in the cup as the T-Rex appears, or when the velociraptors are chasing the kids into the kitchen. I remember reading the book, and that scene was the scariest one in the book. And as soon as I saw the kids run into the kitchen, I'm like, oh, here we go. And just, the tap, tap, tap. It just everything. I mean, and Jurassic Park has added so much to our culture.
Yeah.
The whole joke of, can it open a door, right? It's a sign of intelligence. And the expression clever girl, it just on it goes. And so I realize there have been many more Jurassic Parks and Jurassic World since then. Fine, whatever, it's a franchise, that's great. But the OG of that franchise is the first one, Jurassic Park, a brilliant book made into a brilliant movie, which I can watch anytime.
Good choice. Good choice. And
Thanks.
my next film, my number 3, is kind of in line with that not that genre, not the horror genre quite like that, but I have Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah. Oh, what a great movie.
I so my husband and I, the joke is like it was always on in college, like on the local channel, like for the movie times. And so we have it like memorized. Like and I kind of again, I was like, do I do Shawshank or do I do um Alcatraz, the Rock?
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah, yeah.
two movies were on, like if one was on, the other one what, like they were, it was, and so we kind of have them memorized, my husband and I. They were just staples of our college career. They were always on TV. But I picked Shawshank for this part because the story is better. It just there's just so much more nuances. There's so much more of like the historical stuff showing the corruption that actually was happening with the grifting happening from high up. The escape was
Oh
was better than
yeah.
the other than the Rock one. And Tim Robbins just does Tim Robbins
Oh,
and
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. It's
Yeah.
just, and the ending is just, it's like, I don't know, it's more, it's so satisfying. And you really are rooting for all the characters. And again, what you were saying, there's so many extra, secondary and tertiary characters in that. A lot of them you love for so many reasons. And it's sad or they're funny. And then there's the bad guys that you're so fucking glad when the bad guys get their comeuppances. And yet at the same time, like you've got that prison guard who will kill people or beat them within an inch of their life, but he'll also give them beers for the top of the roof. Or he will, he beats up the guys that beat up Andy. Like, so he's a bad guy and he's brutal and he does go to jail and you're happy, but he's not like he's morally gray character. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of morally gray characters.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. It's like
Yeah.
it's a long movie and it doesn't feel long.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. No, I love
The
that movie.
pacing is
And
just great. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so powerful, so complex, and oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you get two stellar actors in there giving really understated performances that just, oh yeah, great pick. Almost into the category of like so good, but I never want to watch it again because it's just so But
Oh,
I think it also is uplifting and
yeah.
has some really nice moments to it, and it has some humor in it.
Yeah.
It's not just a gut punch. It is, but it's also so much more. So yeah, great pick,
Yeah.
great pick.
All right.
Okay.
You're number 3.
All right. Well, some people are going to think that we're going from the sublime to the ridiculous here with my number 3, but I have an argument to make. My number 3 is 1997's Starship Troopers. And I know we talked about this when we talked about our top 5 favorite books, because Starship Troopers was on that list as
Yes.
well. Favorite book. The movie was made and it was absolutely panned when it came out. It was seen as sort of, glitzy Hollywood, lots of special effects, beautiful people who couldn't act very well, and just over the top stupid. That's how it was originally received in theaters. But I remember going to see it and going, oh, this is genius. This is so clever because the movie is actually a parody of fascism. It is so over the top, rah fascism that if you actually really look at it, you go, yeah, the movie is not saying that this is good at all. The movie is saying this is terrible, but it's doing it in a very subtle way. And this is one of those rare works of art that you can completely appreciate at two levels. And that's why I think it's so clever. You can watch Starship Troopers and just switch your brain off and go, huh, beautiful people and special effects and guns and shooting and ha ha ha. You can totally appreciate it just at that level. Or you can look at it and go, huh, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. The subversiveness of this. And what makes it even more interesting is that the book, which is the granddaddy of all military science fiction, is generally considered to be a pro-fascist book. It was sort of an exploration by the author of, well, maybe there's some ideas, some worthwhile ideas here. Heinlein was not a fascist. I just want to say that right now. He wrote other books that were very libertarian, but this was his sort of exploration of it. The movie, which was made by a Dutch filmmaker, is actually almost a counterpoint to the book. The book is pro-fascist. The movie is very anti-fascist, and it is a satire of the book. So you can actually appreciate this movie at another level, which is the satire of the work that inspired it. And that is really quite clever. So it is fun. It's flashy. There's the infamous group shower scene. There's all kinds of things that you can just sort of kick back and enjoy. But there's so much more beneath it. And that is what I think makes it truly genius. Starship Troopers.
All right. You made a good case. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Not going to argue.
Don't watch the other ones. Starship Troopers 2 and 3, don't watch them. But the original.
All right. My number 2. This is where I feel like starts to become therapy. My number 2 is Beauty and the Beast.
The animated one?
I will take any version
Okay.
of Beauty and the Beast. Because there's the new one, the one that just came out.
The Emma Watson one?
Yeah, the Emma Watson one. And I'm not like a huge fan of Emma Watson in it. But it's just but it's beautifully done. And I will admit to this, that the credits of that movie, the Emma Watson one, which is done kind of, there's a little bit of it's the credits are beautiful. It's Celine Dion, whatever. I cry watching the credits. And I don't know why it hits me. We're like the whole movie, whatever. And there's like a French version that is totally different, that has like a golden deer, and like it's very different, but it's still Beauty and the Beast. And I like them all. But the credits of the Emma Watson one, I cry. And I said this to some of my girlfriends, and she's like, my husband does too. Just the credits. It's like, I don't know what it is about the credits. I think regardless of which rendition it is, I really love reading folk tales, and I really love studying them, and so many end up in what they call Arn Tomser Uther in the 400s, where it's like the animal bride or the animal groom, a major trope in a lot of folk tales around the world. And the versions of it are just so interesting, especially considering there is a thread that goes through it, which is basically goes back to when you had marriages that were not always for love, and these stories were almost cautionary, uplifting things, like you think you've married a monkey, a snake, a pig, whatever the story is, right? But with enough time, you can find the good in this relationship, or you can fall in love. And like, it's a very much of that's the message with all those folktales. And it's just always been my favorite. So yep. The joke in the house is, oh, Beauty and the Beast, mom's watching it again.
So. And that's great. I certainly, hats off to the Disney version that came out in the 90s as well. You know, a lot the same vintage as Little Mermaid and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. When Disney reinvented itself with the animated movies, it was great. You know, with the candle and the clock and the teacup and everything, that we're all singing songs, and it's such a nice story. And like with all fairy tales, it has that depth to it. And this, do you really know what you're getting into? And don't judge a book by its cover, and all kinds of things you can draw on from it. It's a story that's been told many times, and I think it's been told many times well. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Love it. Okay. My number 2. Now, I'll be honest, my number 2 and number 1, I actually had to kind of, which one's the favorite?
Okay.
And I'll explain why number one is number one when I get there. But number two, this is a movie that I could honestly watch almost every day. Like it's just, I just love it. Whenever I'm on vacation, if I'm just sitting around the house, nothing to do, this movie's going on because
Okay.
yeah. And it is. I'll wait till so you don't spit on the camera. Uh,
You're making it sound, you're building it up. Better be
no,
amazing.
no, no. It's okay. It's 2022's Top Gun Maverick, and right? So, Top Gun Maverick is a sequel,
Yeah.
and it's like 30 years after the original Top Gun. And I'll be honest, the original Top Gun, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, it's okay. It was a fun 80s, over macho testosterone adventure in fighter planes, which could have just as easily been in race cars or on horses or whatever. It was in fighter planes, sure. The original Top Gun is iconic in that it so perfectly captures that 80s macho adventure style. And it really, like, it's very memorable. And you have to remember, too, I was a young teenager when Top Gun came out. So, of course, we all love it. And then I joined the Navy. And so, of course, everyone in the Navy knows Top Gun. So, the original Top Gun, even though it wasn't my favorite movie, I just knew it so well. Then along comes Top Gun Maverick, a sequel nearly 30 years later. Like
Right.
that in and of itself is amazing. But what I love about this movie, yes, the cinematography is spectacular. They took IMAX cameras and put them in the cockpits of real F-18s and put the actors through. I mean, amazing, amazing. But what I really like about it is the story, because you take this character, this Pete Maverick Mitchell, who in 1986 is this ultra cocky, 80s alpha male, like everything you'd imagine from that era. Now he's 30 years older. He's at the end of his career. He has a lot of regrets, and he is facing, extinction basically, and he has to face up to some of the decisions that he made in the past, which did not work out well. You have a much older, wiser, seasoned character, played by a much older, wiser, seasoned Tom Cruise, um, who um, has so much more depth.
Hmm.
And I guess that was so good is that the first movie, there's no depth. It is just gloss. The second movie is a completely different generation. It's a different era. It's a different movie. It has all those things. It has the great aerial flying scenes. It has the action. It has the music. It has all that. But it has a genuine romance amongst people in their 50s,
Hmm.
which you don't see all that often in Hollywood, right? And it has real drama, real pain, and real decisions that have to be made. So I guess what gets me about Top Gun Maverick is that it is surprisingly deep. Um, it has Val Kilmer, who of course hasn't acted for years because the actor himself is not doing well health wise, but they brought him back, and his character is also, they didn't try to hide it. His character is also suffering with health, and it's very touching, and it's a great send off. Um, and it is so much more than the original. And the original was exactly what it needed to be. Not my favorite, but what it was. The sequel was so much more. And perhaps it just spoke to me at where I am in my life and where I am in my career. And I was just like, yes, you get me, Maverick. And I get you. And that's awesome. And on top of all that, it is a genuine feel good movie that you just can't help but cheer for at the end.
When that
So
when that came out, I think someone in the industry basically said to Tom Cruise, like, "You saved the movies this year." That really, really was needed at the time it came out. And my youngest son loves that movie very much. Um, and so I see the appeal. I mean, and he's just a kid, but he loves that one better than the first because we've had him watch both, and he just loves Top Gun Maverick.
yeah,
I mean, he was a Air Force pilot for Halloween the year it came out. Like he just um there's something to your point. There is depth, and it makes it a better film overall. It just is. There's the quiet moments interspersed are truly good quiet moments that um,
Yeah.
that transcend, it. So, uh, no, great pick. I mean, it's a great movie. I enjoy watching it too. I enjoy watching my kid loving watching it. I feel like bridging the gap between the years.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, my
Okay, here
final
we go.
movie, and I will preface this by saying, the first time I saw this movie, I was in, I want to say, fifth or sixth grade, and it is the movie that made me want to maybe someday be in the film industry. And it did not age well, in terms of these days. With I watched it recently with two friends who had never watched it before, and they were giving me side eye the entire time. And they were like, "This is what it's about?" And I'm like, "Well, it's in the title." And they're like, "This is really, I mean, some of the lines, Sarah." I'm like, "I know it hasn't aged well in today's culture, but if you take that away." And it is another musical. It came out in 1954. And it is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
Come on, it's Jane Powell and Howard Keel, and it has one of the most. There's a couple really awesome technical things that were done in that film that are still considered the gold standard. So I don't know how familiar you are with the movie if you've seen it, but they're the barn raising sequence where they specifically had all these brothers who were, other than Howard Keel, who was just picked for his singing voice, they were all athletes. Some of them were actual gymnasts as well as ballet dancers and everything like that. So all of the stunts that are done in that whole sequence were done by the actors, and
Mm.
they're hard to do on time, with the beat of the music and everything else. And so that is famous. And then there is a song that they sing and that they have to swing axes and saws to. It's the Lonesome Polecat song, and they did it in one take.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
And so there's just certain things, and there's just some really fun songs, and there's great dancing, and just and it's supposed to take place in the 1820s or 30s, which I love that time period. And uh it just made me go, maybe I want to be part of movies somehow. I didn't even know in what way. Like, I had no, oh, I want to be a director or a writer or a costumer. I didn't even have that. I just was like, gosh, it'd be fun to work on something like this. And uh and that was probably the very first kindling of a seed to get me to where I am today. So I owe that to that film. And even though now it's like the grossest Stockholm syndrome, kidnapping women, uh all the things, still a really good movie, and they have great songs. It's Rodgers and Hammerstein. You can't go wrong. Um,
Yeah.
so that is my number one. It has been for like 30 years. So,
It's amazing. And so it should be. If it's what inspires you to get into the industry, you can't go wrong with that. And movies all age in different ways, and sometimes culture moves on, but it doesn't mean that the work of art loses its value.
no.
And I think that's really important. To accept it for what it is, and it was made when it was, and it's still quality. You
Hmm.
know? Yeah. Cool.
Anyway.
Love it. Love it. Great choice. All right, my number one. Uh, so this will probably not come as a surprise to anyone who knows me or has listened to this show, um, but it's going to be a Star Wars movie because, of course, Star Wars is the single biggest influence on my life and my writing and the way I see the world. I saw the original Star Wars in theaters, the drive-in actually, when I was 4 years old. and it changed my entire worldview. And yeah, so you can all do the math now, and you can figure it out how old I am. But it basically made me think that, everything is cooler if it's in space. And therefore, that's why I write science fiction. It is because of Star Wars. So, but there are 13 Star Wars movies now, and they've been made over three different generations. And if anyone does want to go to my website, you can actually find my article on all the Star Wars movies ranked, and you can find out which is number one, but here it is. So, representing the entire franchise is 2016's Rogue One.
Really?
Rogue One. Yep. The reason why I think Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie is because it is one of the only ones that was actually unshackled from the Skywalker saga and was free to be what it wanted to be. Rogue One is very much a Star Wars movie. It's all there, but it is actually a war movie first and foremost. Like Band of Brothers or like Saving Private Ryan. It's that kind of movie set in the Star Wars universe, and it has the freedom to be something different. And not that there's anything wrong with what Star Wars movies are, but Rogue One, it was free to give us new characters that we'd never seen before, so we can get to know them and appreciate them and see their complexity. The hero Jyn Erso is a very morally gray character.
Yeah.
So that makes her fascinating. Cassian Andor is also a morally gray character who has gone on to do an amazing 2-season series on TV. But it also was loyal to its roots, and lots of Easter eggs for Star Wars mega fans, all kinds of little things dropped in. And it ends, even though the movie ends in an extremely bold way, everybody dies. Sorry, spoiler alert. Everybody dies in this movie. It ends with that moment of hope because we know what's coming next. And we know that the original Star Wars movie starts minutes later. And so it was such an emotional roller coaster ride. It was spectacularly done. It was so bold in its undertaking. It started so small and became so big. And even though it paid homage to the Star Wars series, was not chained by it at all. It was free to do what it wanted, but it still delivered something for everyone. Whether you're a huge fan or a newcomer who's never seen it before, you can appreciate Rogue One. I watched it on the plane just about a month ago because it was there. And just like Top Gun Maverick, anytime, any day, I can watch Rogue One. And it had infinite replayability and just never get tired of it. So representing all of Star Wars is Rogue One.
Well done. I think that you could even narrow it down is saying, I mean, there are some that are clearly not a top. I mean, I'm sure there are for some people, but I think consensus would put certain ones way lower on the list than others. So once you start getting to which one was the best, because I'm kind of now I'm well, I should watch that again with that mindset because I love Empire Strikes Back. That is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's number 2 in my mind. In fact, when I went through customs when I was traveling a month or two ago, we were going into Holland. I was wearing a Star Wars shirt, and the customs agent looked at me and said, "What's the best Star Wars movie?" And I went, Rogue One. And his eyebrows raised, and I said, "If I'm allowed to go outside the 9 movies. If not, The Empire Strikes Back." He nodded, stamped my passport. "Welcome to Holland, sir."
You chose well.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I can't not recognize the influence of Star Wars. And
Ooh, that's the same with mine. It's you have to recognize the things that have made a lasting impression on you for some reason or another and own it, because it is kind of part of the fabric of who you are. And I do want to say to our listeners who have been hopefully listening now for 40 minutes, but you and I don't know these things about each other. Like
Mhm.
this is always, we are learning this totally in real time. And for all of these top fives, we don't disclose them ahead of time to one another. We don't know each other like that well. Like I'm sure our spouses could figure
Oh
out,
yes.
all of this very well and very easily
Yes.
for each of us. But it's fun to just be like, hey, pal, what's your favorite movies? And maybe give each other shit about it, you know. Um,
I guarantee you, Emma could have named at least 4 of those 5. Yeah,
oh
without
yeah,
even thinking. Oh yeah.
yeah.
It's no secret in our house.
John could have gotten the Beauty and the Beast and the Seven Brides of Seven Brothers. He would have known some of those, but yeah. I mean, he loves Shawshank and The Illusionist and The Prestige. Those are, he would not have Flower Drum Song anywhere near him. I think I made him watch that once, and he was like, "This is I no," and I'm like, "No, it's
Yeah.
so good. We gotta buy it." I had to like go hunting for it because it was so hard to find.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Emma will watch Top Gun Maverick with me, but I think that's the only one. The rest, meh, she's not that fussed. But she appreciates, and she appreciates me. So that's all that matters. So
this was fun.
well, that was
Cheers,
great.
Ben. This was a good
Cheers.
time.
Always fun to just take a little break,
Yeah.
have some fun, learn something new. Yeah. But I think that's our show for today, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our chats, and feel free to leave a review. It really does help us a lot. If you want to learn more about Sarah, you can visit her at sarahdahlman.com and on Instagram.
And you can find Ben at ben@ourcoles.com as well as Facebook and Instagram. Thank you again for joining us on our Life Top 5. Please reach out if there are any topics or top 5s that you would like us to discuss. Otherwise, we will see you again when we next chat all about writing.
This has been All About Writing with Ben and Sarah.